Alfonso the Magnanimous KG was the King of Aragon, Valencia, Majorca, Sardinia and Corsica, Sicily and Count of Barcelona from 1416, and King of Naples from 1442 until his death. He was one of the most prominent figures of the early Renaissance and a Knight of the Order of the Dragon. Biography. Born at Medina del Campo, he was the son of Ferdinand I of Aragon and Eleanor of Albuquerque. He represented the old line of the Counts of Barcelona through the female line, and was on his father's side descended from the House of Trastamara, the reigning House of Castile. By hereditary right he was King of Sicily and claimed the island of Sardinia for himself, though it was then in the possession of Genoa. Alfonso was also in possession of much of Corsica by the 1420s. In 1421 the childless Queen Joan II of Naples adopted and named him as heir to the Kingdom of Naples, and Alfonso went to Naples. Here he hired the condottiero Braccio d'Armontone with the task of reducing the resistance of his rival claimant, Louis III of Anjou, and his forces led by Muzio attendolo Sforza. With Pope Martin V supporting Sforza, Alfonso switched his religious allegiance to the Aragonese anti-Pope Benedict XIII. When Sforza abandoned Louis's cause, Alfonso seemed to have all his problems solved. However, his relationship with Joanna suddenly worsened, and in May 1423 he had her lover, Gianni Carriacolo, a powerful figure in the Neapolitan court, arrested. After an attempt to arrest the Queen herself had failed, Joan called on Sforza, who defeated the Aragonese militias near Castel Capuano in Naples. Alfonso fled to Castelnuovo, but the help of a fleet of 22 galleys led by Giovanni da Cardona improved his situation. Sforza and Joanna ransomed Carriacolo and retreated to the fortress of Aversa. Here she repudiated her earlier adoption of Alfonso and, with the backing of Martin V, named Louis III as her heir instead. The Duke of Milan, Filippo Maria Visconti, joined the anti-Aragonese coalition. Alfonso requested support from Braccio d'Armontone, who was besieging Joanna's troops in L'Aquila, but had to set sail for Spain, where a war had broken out between his brothers and the Kingdom of Castile. On his way towards Barcelona, Alfonso destroyed Marseille, a possession of Louis III. In late 1423 the Genoese fleet of Filippo Maria Visconti moved in the southern Tyrrhenian Sea, rapidly conquering Gaeta, Procida, Castellamare and Sorrento. Naples, which was held by Alfonso's brother Pedro de Aragon, was besieged in 1424 by the Genoese ships and Joanna's troops, now led by Francesco Sforza, the son of Muzio Sforza. The city fell in April 1424. Pedro, after a short resistance in Castelnuovo, fled to Sicily in August. Joanna II and Louis III again took possession of the realm, although the true power was in the hands of Gianni Carriacolo. An opportunity for Alfonso to reconquer Naples occurred in 1432, when Carriacolo was killed in a conspiracy. Alfonso tried to regain the favor of the Queen, but failed, and had to wait for the death of both Louis and Joanna herself. In her will, she bequeathed her realm to René of Anjou, Louis III's younger brother. This solution was opposed by the new Pope, Eugene IV, who nominally was the feudal lord of the King of Naples. The Neapolitans having called in the French, Alfonso decided to intervene and, with the support of several barons of the kingdom, captured Capua and besieged the important sea fortress of Gaeta. His fleet of 25 galleys was met by the Genoese ships sent by Visconti, led by Biagio Asseretto. In the battle that ensued, Alfonso was defeated and taken prisoner. In Milan, however, he impressed his captor with his cultured demeanor and persuaded him to let him go by making it plain that it was not in Milan's interest to prevent the victory of the Aragonese party in Naples. Helped by a Sicilian fleet, Alfonso recaptured Capua and set his base in Gaeta in February 1436. Meanwhile, papal troops had invaded the Neapolitan kingdom, but Alfonso bribed the commander, Cardinal Giovanni Vitelleschi, and the successes waned. In the meantime, René had managed to reach Naples on the 19th of May 1438. Alfonso tried to besiege the city in the following September, but failed. His brother Pedro was killed during the battle. Castelnuovo, where an Aragonese garrison resisted, fell to the Angevin mercenaries in August 1439. After the death of his condottiero Jacopo Caldora, however, René's fortune started to decline. Alfonso could easily capture Aversa, Salerno, Benevento, Manfredonia and Betonto. René, whose possession included now only part of the Abruzzi in Naples, obtained 10,000 men from the Pope, but the cardinal leading them signed a truce with Alfonso. Giovanni Sforza came with a reduced corps, as troops sent by Eugene IV had halted his father Francesco in the marsh. Alfonso, provided with the most impressive artillery of the times, again besieged Naples. The siege began on the 10th of November 1441, ending on the 2nd of June the following year. After the return of René to Provence, Alfonso easily reduced the remaining resistance and made his triumphal entrance in Naples on the 26th of February 1443, as the monarch of a pacified kingdom. In 1446 he also conquered Sardinia. Alfonso, by formally submitting his reign to the papacy, obtained the consent of Pope Eugene IV that the kingdom of Naples would go to his illegitimate son Ferdinand. He died in Castelnuovo in 1458, while he was planning the conquest of Genoa. At the time, Alfonso was at odds with Calixtus III, who died shortly afterwards. His Spanish possessions were ruled for him by his brother John, later King John II of Aragon. Sicily and Sardinia were also inherited by his brother. Alfonso was also a powerful and faithful supporter of Scanderbeg, whom he decided to take under his protection as a vassal in 1451, shortly after the latter had scored his second victory against Murat II. In addition to financial assistance, he supplied the Albanian leader with troops, military equipment, and sanctuary for himself and his family if such a need should arise. This was because in 1448, while Scanderbeg was victoriously fighting off the Turkish invasions, 3 military columns, commanded by Demetrio Reas along with his sons Giorgio and Basilio, had been dispatched to help Alfonso V defeat the barons of Naples who had rebelled against him. Family. Alfonso had been betrothed to Maria of Castile in Valladolid in 1408. The marriage was celebrated in Valencia on the 12th of June 1415. They failed to produce children. Alfonso had been in love with a woman of noble family named Lucrezia de Lagna, who served as a de facto queen at the Neapolitan court as well as an inspiring muse. Genealogical records in the Old Occitan Chronicle of Montpellier in l'Epithalamus de Montpellier indicate that Alfonso's relationship with his mistress, Giraldona Carlino, produced 3 children. His successor in Naples, King Ferdinand I of Naples, Maria d'Aragona. She had married in 1444 Leonello d'Este, deceased 1450, Leonora d'Aragona, who married circa 1443 Mariano Marzano, Duke of Squillace, Prince of Rossano. Her daughter Francesca married Leonardo III Tocco. Giraldona was the daughter of Enrique Carlino and his wife, Isabel. art and administration. Like many Renaissance rulers, Alfonso V was a patron of the arts. He founded the Academy of Naples under Giovanni Pontano, and for his entrance into the city in 1443, had a magnificent triumphal arch added to the main gate of Castel Nuovo. The edifice was designed by Francesco Laurana. Alfonso was particularly attracted to classical literature. He reportedly brought copies of the works of Livy and Julius Caesar on his campaigns. The poet Antonio Beccadelli even claimed that Alfonso was cured of a disease by the reading of a few pages from Quintus Curtius Rufus's History of Alexander the Great. Although this reputed erudition attracted scholars to his court, Alfonso apparently enjoyed pitting them against each other in spectacles of bawdy Latin rhetoric. After his conquest of Naples in 1442, Alfonso ruled primarily through his mercenaries and political lackeys. In his Italian kingdom, he maintained the former political and administrative institutions. His holdings in Spain were governed by his brother Joan. A unified general chancellorship for the whole Aragonese realm was set up in Naples, although the main functionaries were of Aragonese nationality. Apart from financial, administrative and artistic improvements, his other accomplishments in the Sicilian kingdom include the restoration of the aqueducts, the drainage of marshy areas, and the paving of streets. Connection with Ethiopia. Alfonso was the object of diplomatic contacts from the Empire of Ethiopia. In 1428, he received a letter from Yeshak I of Ethiopia, borne by two dignitaries, which proposed an alliance against the Muslims and would be sealed by a dual marriage that would require the Infante Peter to bring a group of artisans to Ethiopia where he would marry Yeshak's daughter. In return, Alfonso sent a party of 13 craftsmen, all of whom perished on the way to Ethiopia. He later sent a letter to Yeshak's successor Zara Yaqub in 1450, in which he wrote that he would be happy to send artisans to Ethiopia if the safe arrival could be guaranteed, but it probably never reached the emperor. Ancestors.